guys, and welcome to episode 28 of the Crochet Cakes podcast. My name is Elizabeth. You can find me as Crochet Cakes on the social medias, which for me is mostly Instagram and Ravelry. You can also join the Ravelry group for this podcast if you search Crochet Cakes in the groups tab on Ravelry. Just thank you for coming back to me today to chat about all the crafty things we have been up to. If this is the first time tuning in, then I hope you like what you will see. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for just joining me every 2 weeks for just some lovely crafty time together. It's been a while since I podcasted, 3 weeks to be precise, and honestly, it feels a bit weird to be back at it, if I'm honest. I feel like this is my first episode instead of the 28th episode, but we'll see how we get on with it. I do have a lot of things to chat with you guys about today. Some crafty things, some non-crafty things, and some things that have been going on in my life recently. But that will be more towards the end of this podcast. So I will let you know in case you guys just are sticking around for all the crafty bits, then I'll let you know when you can tune me out. I want to address the elephant in the room first and foremost. I want to address the elephant in the room, and that is my hair. Once again, I have cut my hair. Honestly, it was a bit touch and go because I meant to do an Audrey Hepburn sort of haircut, but I didn't go too drastic too fast, and I just not settled, but I just decided for a true 1920s bob. And I actually had my hairdresser's appointment yesterday, and yeah, it doesn't look as fabulous as it did yesterday because, well, humidity in Puerto Rico, which is where I podcast from 99.999% of the time, is just death. Seriously, humidity in Puerto Rico is just death for blown dried hair or for flat ironed hair, anything but natural. I don't bother with it because it just has a way of rebelling it and turning all the hard work into nonsense. But yes, the other thing I wanted to mention is what I'm wearing. Now, the dress I didn't sew, but I am wearing a piece of handmade jewelry, and it is this kind of elephant tribal necklace which was made by my mom a couple of years ago. Let's see if we give you a little close up here. This elephant here was actually a brooch which mom turned into a pendant. I don't remember where I got it from, but I know it was some time ago. And these are wooden beads, and these little kind of rondelles are just faceted beads that faceted crystal beads to just go along with the theme of the elephant. So yes, I also wanted to talk about a very, very important thing that happened this week, and that is that the thread for the Podiversary giveaway was officially closed this morning. I know I said I was going to close it on the 23rd of June, but it kind of just passed me by and I forgot to close that thread. So I closed it this morning bright and early at 6:30 in the morning, which means that all you lovely viewers out there could have snuck under my radar and joined the Podiversary giveaway. So a big, big thank you to everybody who participated in this giveaway. It means a lot, especially all the feedback that I got about what you like and what you would like to see in future podcasts. The consensus, I think, was you would like to see more of my mom. You would also like to see what I'm sewing, what I'm reading, and what I'm baking. Now, the baking part, I took a bit of care in this episode, and you saw at the beginning, I baked a pecan pie for Father's Day. Now, this pecan pie, I'm not gonna lie, I will link the recipe, but it really didn't set as hard as I wanted it to. I think that had to do with the size of the yolk, because really what makes it kind of just set and bubble and toil together, I think for pecan pie, I think it really depends on the size of the egg. But what I did like about the recipe was that it wasn't annoyingly, cloyingly sweet, which I think pecan pie does tend to be sometimes. It is not a favorite of mine. Well, my favorite part are the glazed pecans at the top, but I don't really like the filling. However, my dad is a huge lover of pecan pie, and it was his birthday. It was his gift for Father's Day. So pecan pie for my dad it was. As to sewing and reading, I haven't been doing a lot of that this week. I mean, I did sew a project bag, which I'll get to in a little bit, and I did cut out some pattern pieces for a dress that I'm going to try to make. But there hasn't been such a huge progress, so what I think I will do is I will alternate every couple of weeks between if I have been sewing or reading, and I will add that sporadically as I actually do them. But yes, thank you so much for participating and for all the lovely feedback. You guys just rock my world. Without any further ado, I want to review what the podcast giveaway entailed, and then I shall be announcing the winner. So for this podcast giveaway, I wanted to give away some of my favorite things, some things that really bring me a lot of joy as we've chatted about. And one of those things, as you guys will know, is Harry Potter yarn. I love Harry Potter yarn. Well, Harry Potter inspired yarn, Harry Potter dyed yarn, I just love it. So I should be giving away a skein of Harry Potter inspired yarn dyed by my favorite Harry Potter dyer, who is Kayleen. And it's in her everyday sock base, 75-25 superwash merino nylon, and the colorway is Padfoot. Now this was donated by Mom, and speaking of Mom, I shall also be giving away some earrings that have been made by my mom, because as you guys know by the jewelry I usually wear in this podcast, I love my mom's jewelry. So yes, be giving that away. Also included is a bag that I sewed this week. Literally, I think I finished sewing it yesterday. Today is Sunday the 25th of June, and I finished it yesterday on Saturday. So as promised, we get the fabric that I used to make my first ever drawstring bag from, which I absolutely love. And on the inside, we've got some just delicate flower fabric. The colors I thought complemented well the colors on the bag. And just a handle that you can zip and do a little bow tie if you want extra decoration on it. Yeah, I hope you guys love it. I loved making this bag, and I made it a square bottom for you guys because I really like square bottoms. Also, I should be giving away this little lovely notebook which embodies my love of dogs and my love of Scotland, because they're Scotty dogs and little tartans. Who doesn't love that? So yeah, it's just a little journal type notebook that you can use to write ideas for future projects, cows that you want to participate in. If you are into designing, you can just write your designing ideas, just whatever strikes your fancy, essentially. So who won this lovely bag of goodies, essentially? Well, it was number 4, Patty Crochets. So congratulations to Patty Crochets. If you get in touch with me on Ravelry or on Instagram by private message letting me know your address, I shall be shipping that out to you as soon as I can. So yes, congratulations, and thank you once again to everybody who participated. You guys are awesome, and you're all winners in my heart. So now that I've announced the giveaway winner, I think we could move on to some other bit of channel admin, and that is the Summer Romance KAL, which is going strong. It started on the 3rd of June and it's running until the 5th of August. If you would like to participate and are wondering what the Summer Romance KAL entails, then you can join the Ravelry group, as I mentioned, and you will find information on this crochet along. And remember that all you have to do is choose your favorite couple and choose yarn inspired by your favorite couple, colors that remind you of your favorite couple, or a pattern that actually reminds you of your favorite couple. And you can knit or crochet. And I actually opened the finished objects thread yesterday. So you can, if you've already finished some items, then you can enter them into the finished objects thread. All you need to remember is that for the finished objects thread, the instructions are there, but I'm just going to remind you that you need to enter the couple that you chose and where your couple comes from, so we can all be inspired and maybe read a new book, watch a new movie, watch a new TV show, you know, just stuff like that. And I also have some exciting news about the KAL, and it's that I've got a couple of items to give away for the finished objects thread. Little Miss Motha on Ravelry and Instagram got in touch with me saying that she would soon be opening up an Etsy shop to sell her indie dyed yarn, and she would like to know if I would want to receive a skein to give away. And yes, thank you so much for that. It's just so generous of you, and I am so happy that you are venturing and opening your new business. I'm very excited to see what colorways you come up with, and just thank you so much. And another giveaway prize that I received, I will talk about a little bit more later in the podcast, because it was accompanied by an acquisition. So, without further ado, I think we should just chat about what we've been crafting this week, right? These past 3 weeks. And even though it's been 3 weeks, I feel like I haven't really crafted that much. I feel like when I do a bi-weekly podcast, I craft more than, you know, this time that I waited 3 weeks to podcast. But I have done some progress on a shawl that I've already shared with you previously, and this is my entry for the Summer of Romance KAL. Well, I won't really be participating in my own KAL, but you guys know what I mean. You have to make an entry. And it's the Fog Break shawl by Cat Golden, using the Sticks colorway made by Black Elephant, and it's in 75-25 superwash merino nylon. Honestly, I could have almost been finished with this shawl, but I've been a bit put off by it because of the broomstick lace section. So it's not the fault of the broomstick lace. I mean, I don't find it to be difficult or taxing. It's just that it creates this weird ridge between each V-stitch rows. It creates a weird ridge between, and that ridge is really driving me crazy. I mean, I know it will most probably block out, you know, when I block it, because it does stretch and it's very stretchy, gorgeous fabric, but you can see it more on this side than on the other one. It just drives me bonkers. I'm not kidding. So that's kind of been putting me off, but I think that it's due to my tension. I tend to crochet tightly, so it follows that my broomstick lace would be tight as well. So it's not the fault of the pattern. There's nothing wrong with the pattern. It's excellently written and very easy to follow. It's a very easy pattern as well. It's just, I think I just crochet way too tightly for that. Oh, and the couple I would be representing with that yarn is the couple Bethany and Sticks from the book Sticks of the Dark Hunter series by Sherilyn Kenyon. Woof. I still remember that. The other thing I've been crocheting, it's actually a new hook on project? Yeah, new project. It's a new project. And it is something that I am making for my boyfriend. He graduates the 16th of July, and I really wanted to be able to make him something for his graduation. And I remembered that he really liked the Galahad dragon. So I decided to make him one, and I wanted to use stash yarn. Right. He sent me a picture of Galahad that popped up on his feed, because he says that ever since he started following my feed, he gets a lot of crochet recommendations. And one of the ones that he got was the Galahad dragon in blue and gray, and he really loved it. There's not much I can say about this project. I'm just going to show it to you so you'll see my dilemma with it. It's not the pattern, it's the yarn I chose. And I'm just going to pop up. To be or not to be, that is the question. I mean, he is ginormous. He is just so huge, like compared to Mom's dragon, which was bigger than mine. Let me just quickly pop up and show you. This was Mom's dragon, which I thought was ginormous. This is my other dragon. I mean, he's just huge. So I ran into two issues. I remember why this yarn was in my stash and was unused. I detest it. I detest it with a passion. It is the Lion brand homespun yarn, I think, and it's so annoying to use. It constantly gets stuck in my hook. I can't get my hook through. I have to really look into the spaces and separate them to make sure that I'm actually crocheting into a space and I'm not skipping stitches, which already happened, but I'm considering it part of my pattern design. And I was running out of yarn because between this head, it took about half the skein of the yarn that I had left, and then the drumstick, leg. Seriously, guys. It looks like those turkey legs that you buy at Disney World. Right, enough about turkeys and their legs. So, this was too huge, and I was a bit concerned that I wasn't going to have enough yarn in my stash to actually finish it. So, yesterday, by luck, I went to Walmart, and so I bought one extra skein. Hopefully that will be enough and I won't have any left over, because I really dislike this yarn. It's homespun, Lion brand, and this is the color Windsor. So the one good thing about it was that when I was with my boyfriend yesterday, so when he saw this yarn, he went like, "Oh, I love that, those colors, they look like the bottom of the ocean, they're so great." And in my head, I was like, well, good, because you're going to receive a life-size dragon in that yarn. So it's kind of all aligning here and there and everywhere. Let's just return Gala. It's just huge. I think I'm going to pop Eldrig right in this basket here. Keep me company. So that every time I look over, I can laugh at the ginormous head that I made. So in terms of crochet that I have done, that's really it. But the keen-eyed among you may notice that I changed the shawl behind me, and we now have a Hotel of Bees collaboration. And this is Mom's version of the Hotel of Bees shawl. by Christina Hadderig, which is a spoonful of yarn on Instagram. She did her version in DK weight, and it produced a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous piece of fabric. You guys had seen it in the making on Mother's Day. She kind of switched it up because if you saw the finished picture on Instagram, first she had this part in brown. She didn't like it, so she ordered another skein of yarn from Kayleen in the same base and colorway. So this is Mooney in the Luxe DK base from Kayleen, and this is also Mooney in the Luxe DK base from Kayleen. Now this is just to show you how, even though it's the same colorway, dye lots do vary, and sometimes they vary greatly because, you know, it's like when I try to make a cake. I can make the cake, same recipe 10 times, and on the 11th one that I make it, it will be a little bit different. So it just happens that way. But in terms of, if you were making a garment, this is why you would be alternating skeins, because dye lot differences. But in the case of this shawl, since this you were supposed to end on a third color anyway, I think it was actually brilliant that they didn't match exactly. But if I had to choose, I much prefer the subtle tones on this dye lot than on this dye lot. But anyway, I love, 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 love this Hotel of Bees shawl that my mom made. It's a DK weight version versus mine, which is a fingering weight version. So mine is very light and airy, perfect for summer, late spring, when you just want to feel a bit of warmth but not overly harassed by it. But I love the fact that the Hotel of Bees crochet along just allowed all of us to make the pattern, but at the same time so many different versions of the same pattern, and it's just amazing. By the way, I have claimed this Hotel of Bees shawl as mine because if you remember, I knit a hat with the Mooney colorway. Yeah, so I claim that as mine. So that's really all the crochet goodness this week. But I've also been doing some knitting, and I've been doing a bit of naughty knitting. Why? Why is it naughty knitting? Because I cast on another pair of socks without having finished. Oh no, you guys already knew I cast on a second pair of socks, didn't you? Never mind. Don't listen to me. I'm going crazy. But the first update is on the Hermione's Everyday Socks. This is what I've done. I haven't been crafting a lot this week. I've been feeling just very tired, and all I want to do is sleep. I get out of work and I cook, and then I just want to go to sleep. So I sit and I do one row of crochet or knitting, and I literally fall asleep with everything on top of me. And I wake up and I just still want to keep on sleeping. I don't know what's going on. I'm almost certain it's vitamin D deficiency, so I'm gonna be going to the doctor to getting that checked later on. Not this week, later on at some point. But anyway, this is what I have done of the Hermione's Everyday Socks. I could have completed the first sock, but these are for my sister, these are not for me, and I wanted to make sure that they would really, really fit her. So I asked her to measure her foot from heel to the beginning of the big toe so I could get the perfect size. But I really wanted to get this finished, so I just decided to add an extra pattern repeat, which I finished, and now I will start my toe decreases. This is the Hermione's Everyday Sock pattern by Erica Luder, and the yarn is Regia, which is my first ever Regia skein, and I think it's their Mood series. And I really, really love the sturdiness I feel from crocheting with Regia yarn, which is a huge contrast to this other project that I have here, which is the Mercury socks. I do not remember the name of the designer, but you'll find that there, won't you? And whoop, dropped my socks. I am knitting these using Kayleen's yarn, and it's the first ever Indie dyed skein of yarn I purchased. So this has been in my stash for a while. It's the Fox Rising colorway, and I love the color and the pattern because Mercury, this is what I imagine the planet Mercury to look like. It's such a lovely pattern, and I'm saying this as a person who was terrified of knitting lace. Amazing! And there's been some good progress on this. I'm almost ready to start my heel because Mom doesn't really like a long leg on her socks. So yes, working on those. And I was very, very tempted to cast on another pair of socks because of something that arrived in the post this week. So I had mentioned that I was in San Juan for a training, or I was going to be in San Juan for a workshop. I mentioned that in the previous episode. And before I left, I cheekily made a purchase from Vivian of the Keep Calm and Carry On podcast. She has an Etsy shop, which is Pearl and Plum. You should definitely go check out her Etsy shop. She's got some beautiful bags, beautiful fabrics. I loved everything. But she specifically, what I ordered, she had these notions pouches available. She had about 3 or 4, and I wanted to purchase them all, but I decided on these 2. Now, aren't these gorgeous? This one's for my mom. I bought it for Mom, kind of like an early birthday present, which I gave to her a month in advance. And this one I got for myself because airmail, guys, airmail. So they're clear, and they've got a clear zip that you just open, and yeah, you can see everything on the inside of this bag, which is great because even though she said they're notions pouches, these would work as toolkit, makeup bag, and in my case, I'm actually planning on putting some knitted socks in there or a similar project. I don't know what Mom is planning on using hers for, but I highly recommend that you purchase one of these if she has them available. The construction is just so on point, and her fabric choices and combinations, they're just gorgeous. So Vivian very, very, very kindly included 2 extra things in the parcel and with my purchase, and one of them is for me and one of them is to give away. And she included, seriously, I was very over the moon about this. She included 2 sock bags. One of them is for me to keep and one of them is for me to give away. And I am keeping the lovely little girl with the fox and the balloon. I am keeping her. And they're drawstring bags. They're so beautifully constructed. I mean, just look at the inside. It's got a pocket, plenty of space for socks. It's a square bottom, which is my favorite type of bottom, as I've said. And I will be giving this one away to you guys. This will be included in the Summer Romance Cal Finished Objects winner, if that makes sense. Sorry about that, guys. I got caught off mid-sentence because I'm having a lot of equipment difficulty, which is why now you have a much bigger panorama of the world around me because I switched cameras. Well, I switched phones, so much bigger camera. So yes, this one will be the bag that I will be giving away. And Vivian's bags, I've been meaning to buy some for a while, and even though I bought the Notions pouches first, I cannot speak enough good things about the construction of this bag. I mean, even the top that she included, it kind of feels as if it is waterproof material, which would be great because when you cinch it shut, it kind of protects your little projects a bit more, doesn't it? And in terms of happy post mail, Claudia from the Crochet Luna podcast, she did something really, really sneaky. And she sent me a parcel without even telling me. So it was just a ginormous surprise when I got home to this. I mean, look at the packaging. It's spot on because even though my favorite donuts are old-fashioned donuts, I love looking at donuts and donut prints. Isn't it? They're just the cutest. And she matched it. Matching package and matching card. So she sent this as a present for me for my podiversary giveaway. She sent this as a present to me just because it was my podiversary, and it's just so kind of you, Claudia. I know I already mentioned this, but it's just brilliant of you and so unexpected. And she included some delicious chocolates, which got devoured pretty much as soon as I opened them. Don't worry, Claudia, they were not melted. They were spot on. They were milk chocolate California brittle, I think. And she also included this gorgeous piece of yarn. It's called Olives for Oliver, which is funny because I love olives. Like, I love to eat olives. And this is from Trendsetter Yarn. It's their Autumn and Wind Confetti base. I think that's what it's called. 90% cotton, 10% cashmere. Oh yeah. And now that I know that this exists, I really want to get my hands on more of this yarn because Claudia, it's just amazing. Thank you so much for sending this to me. 90% cotton, 10% cashmere. It's perfect for Puerto Rico. It's fingering weight. I just want to wear it. I want to wear it. She also sent me this lovely woof tail. I just love the name, woof tail. It's the Party Pop woof tail, 20 grams, 4-ply sock, 87 yards, 100% superwash merino, and it's from the Woofy Woof. I really love the pops and kind of like sprinkles in this yarn. It reminds me a bit of Honeydukes from Harry Potter. So beautiful. And can we just talk about the colors? Did I mention that I like this? I'm not sure. Did I mention that? She also included this, which I still am over the moon for. It is a 1945 magazine on edgings. Yeah. And it's very fitting because I had just come back from a workshop on photography and museum digitization. And one of the things that we discussed were how to digitize books or magazines from your collection using photographs, because a photograph will always have a much better resolution, especially if it's something you want to read. You can zoom in as many times as you want, provided that you took the picture correctly with the correct ISO, shutter speed, and aperture. You will always get a better result from using a camera than from scanning it. Even just a phone camera will give you a better result because you can zoom in and read it. But just look at these gorgeous etchings. It's just beautiful. Because as if that wasn't enough to just stop my beating heart, she also included a tea bag. What did she call it? Let me see. Let me see. I called it a tea bag holder. It's basically a little plate that you can place your tea bag in after you finished soaking it, which is great. And my mom really thanks you, Claudia, because I usually just put it on top of the wrappings of the tea bag wrapper. and that drives mom over the wall. Like seriously, it drives her so crazy. So it was such a beautifully put together package. Everything came wrapped. I mean, I almost didn't want to open it because everything was so beautifully wrapped. And this just leads me to an idea of what I want to make to give back to Claudia. And it will include some pattern in this book. That's all I'm saying. So thank you so much for all that happy mail. It was so great arriving home to see it because the last day of the workshop was Friday, June 16th. And I drove back from San Juan to where I live, and that's about a 2.5 hour drive. But it was Friday, lots of traffic jams. It was more like 3.5 hours. And I was really tired, pretty pissed off at the population in general because, I just wonder, how do some people cheat and get a license? I mean, let's not go into that. This is a podcast about crafting and peace. Not about ranting against people's driving skills. But yes, so getting back to the topic at hand, the workshop was wonderful. I am so glad I went. The ladies were just so knowledgeable about all the topics and all the topics they were discussing. They had so much experience in the field, and it was just wonderful. That is all I have to share with you guys this week. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode. You enjoyed catching up with me after 3 weeks' time. And I will see you all again in 2 weeks' time for episode 29. Bye! And